Hi everybody, and welcome to our week 1 video critiques. Today we're going to be looking at Stacy Bell's work, and just right at the top here I want to talk a little bit about how these work. Basically, I'm going to go over the images in two ways. We'll talk about just how they function as images, sort of the mechanics of what looks good, what is successful and what is less successful. And then I'm going to talk about how these images work in terms of how they fulfill the requirements of the assignment. So without further ado, let me make myself disappear there, and let's look at these images. Alright, I'm actually going to switch to this view because I feel like this might be a little bit easier to navigate around in. So, in the written portion of her assignment, Stacy was talking about how she felt like maybe this was a little less successful because the weather wasn't really cooperating. I'm not really seeing that too much here. I mean, obviously, in some of these, it's going to be a little bit more diffuse in here, but I actually kind of like how a lot of these turned out. This is really kind of nice lighting here. I tend to like a more diffuse lighting. It's tough because part of the point of this assignment is to see, to look at different qualities of light at different times of day, but in terms of quality of images, I don't really think it's affected too much, like the image mechanics. Like these all look really pretty nice. So usually what I do is talk about some ones I think are more successful and the ones I think are less successful. So there's a couple of nice things going on here. I really like this sort of light and this pattern going back into space is really nice. I'm digging that quite a bit, and I also want to see if I can zoom in here a little bit because it's a bit hard to see on here, but there's some really nice things that oops, too far, too far. Some really nice things that she's doing with depth of field in these images, where the focus, and we'll be able to see it a little bit better on her other contact sheet, but the focus kind of falls right in here, and it really kind of drops off nicely. These I think are actually really nice. I like the different colors. I like the way that they progress back into space, the depth of field. There's just a little bit of a color cast here on these, which is tough. That's something obviously you can correct in Photoshop or Lightroom. It's also something that you can correct with white balance in your camera. But yeah, I think these are maybe for me the most successful, and then I also like the light that's going on here. This guy's cute. That's definitely a little bit soft, and I think she also, if I remember correctly, she talks a little bit about that softness going on there in the written portion, which we'll look at in a minute. I'm going to switch over to her flagged images here, 6 flagged images. These are the least successful, although I kind of like what's going on with this light here. Yeah, I'm feeling like, I mean, this is clearly just not successful because it looks like the focus is maybe just a little bit off, like it's maybe back there. Hard to tell. I like this idea a lot. I feel like I kind of want to see this from a higher angle. It's tough because you don't always think of these things until kind of hindsight. But I like this idea of this tree trunk and sort of the snow fringing out here. I think this would be really cool. I feel like if you could stand on top of a ladder or on top of a car and shoot kind of down, So it was like this, more like this arc of like white snow coming in here. Even just standing on a chair or something. Like, I feel like that's would be a really cool thing. Sort of like 3/4 arc like this kind of tree, or even if you were up in the tree. Now, again, I'm just throwing out ideas. I don't know if it's physically possible to go up in a tree, or um, how good it would actually look if you did it. But it's kind of it's like a really cool idea, and I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing or brainstorming here. Um, so yeah, there's some really cool things going on here. I'm gonna switch back here and just look from there. Yeah, like this looks a little soft. This actually looks a little soft, like less soft as a bigger image. And I like the idea here quite a bit. This is almost there. I feel like it needs to be like a little bit tighter, and this needs to be turned a little bit. But having kids around this age myself, I know that that's not always a thing that is possible. But again, just sort of throwing out the ideas here. So let's take a look at, okay, so here is her written portion of her assignment. It's going too much. Yeah, talking about the weather a little bit here. Sunrise is successful because there's not much detail. Yeah, I mean, I think she's got maybe a good point about too much sky in the image here. Let's see if I can flip back to there for a second. I feel like maybe like you go a little, like maybe move it down a little bit, or just kind of like turn, like quarter turn to the right. I like this idea. I feel like maybe it just needs to be like slightly repositioned and then maybe chopped in a little tighter, cropped in right there. Mixed lighting, yeah, it's blurry. I agree. Noon, yeah, it's tough because usually with a noon one, let's see if we can look at that again. It's gonna look, the light's gonna be pretty much overhead. It's going to give you harsh shadows, and that's really, I think she's talking about this one. It's really diffuse. That could be the sunset. That's got to be one of these two. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely tough there. Noon, bad contrast. Okay, yeah. I think she's going in order. Sunset. Least image. Okay. Alright. Because it's blurry. Yeah. I feel like, just talking about with this low light, the candy canes thing here. I feel like this is the kind of thing that you probably need a tripod to really pull off. And really, in general, with low lighting situations, tripod is good, especially if, as the case is in our class, you're not really allowed to use your flash. Sometimes you can sort of use like a bit of fill flash, where your flash goes off, but it's either not full strength or it's sort of bounced, or anyway, some way that you can do it to where it's not the primary light source, but it's just kind of shortening the exposure and making the and just adding some light, filling it in basically, filling in the light there. So yeah, like since you can't really use fill flash in this class, tripod. But yeah, I really like this idea. I like, depth of field. I like sort of these repeated vertical shapes. This is really nice. I just think this is a cool image. If you're not really happy with it, Stacy, I would recommend going back and sort of recreating that. Maybe getting a tripod, maybe a little longer exposure, some white balance. I don't know, but I find that to be a really nice, visually interesting image. So yeah, if that's something that you like, I would consider going back and reshooting it. Um, but yeah, overall, I think that Stacy did pretty well. Um, so another thing that I do when I do videos, because this is part of your participation grade for the assignment. So part of that grade is going to be coming from your responses, your feedback that you leave for Stacy and Angela and Mark are the three that we're doing this week. Because part of that is the feedback, and part of it's based on watching this video. At the end, I always give you a word, and then you just post that word, as a response underneath where this is going to be posted on the classroom, the discussion board. You just post that word, and then that lets me know that you have watched all the way through the video. And this week, for this particular video, just go ahead and post red sweater. So REDSWEATER. If you put red sweater, or if I just spelled that red sweater, because I sometimes get those two words mixed up, that's okay. That's even better, because then I'll know that you listened all the way to the very end. But yeah, so now that you've watched this one, if you're doing these in the order that they're posted, go ahead and watch the next two, leave your feedback, and yeah,